He who feeds you controls you. Why the war between Ukraine and Russia persists, the major concern of African leaders, I mean political leaders to be precise, is not about the humans that are being wasted over there. The major concern is about the interception of grain that either comes from Ukraine or Russia to the continent of Africa, in spite of the fact that Africa occupies about 65% of the entire globe's arable land. Amakwago, a member of One Map Africa, a continental organization that was started in 2021 by African youths around the continent, which is in partnership with another organization known as Seeding Africa, whose only business is to preserve African organic seed so that genetically modified organisms don't wipe out African organic seed, so that we are being punished through hunger and enslaved to always look up to other civilizations to feed Africa. Why the Caucasians are advocating for genetically modified organisms to be used in Africa for planting. They have extracted more than enough organic seed and have stored in a seed bank in Norway. Food hegemony is the next great battlefield that is going to be anytime soon. You have to understand that the agro industry, especially in Africa, will claim to about $1 trillion before 2030. And this is a very wonderful environment for young people to consider.
So there's a war on African farmers, a war on African food security and sovereignty that is happening right now across the continent, and we need to talk about it.
Whether you know it or not, the agricultural industry in Kenya, in Africa, is under attack. First and foremost, they don't want you to share seeds, because they want that the seeds they sell to you are patented by them, so it becomes their product. Which
they have collected all our seeds, all seeds in Africa, and they have taken them to Norway, in the biggest seed bank probably in the world, and that's where our seeds are. What is the agenda? I don't know.
But what you are expected to do is to buy GMOs, genetically modified organisms, plant them, and they are modified in such a way that once you plant once, what you get, you don't replant. If you replant, nothing will grow. So you keep on buying to plant.
What makes MGOs really bad is the fact that they are modified so that the next generation is unable to reproduce. So that when these seeds are planted, take for instance, maize is planted. When the wind pollinates this maize, it carries the grain or the pollen to other maize fields. They are pollinated. When they are pollinated, the organic ones that were planted, which were not GMOs, eventually become GMOs. And so it is a careful strategy to steal organic seed from Africa so that we keep buying from them. We keep dependent on them. Remember about sanctions. When they talk about sanctions, it is all about controlling what you feed on. In his speech for the race of the AU chairperson in 2025, Raila Odinga, the candidate for Kenya, who is already representing the community of East African states, emphasizes about silencing the guns in Africa by 2030. Don't forget that in Agenda 2063, it stipulated that the guns would have been silenced by 2020, but it was transferred to 2030. And now there is a clause in that mission statement that emphasizes that there should be mechanized agriculture on the continent of Africa in 2024. But you and I know that the hoes and the cutlasses are still roaming about, and food is getting more and more expensive in our markets because the populations don't have enough to eat. I emphasize that the candidates should really explain to the people of Africa, so that people should choose carefully how they are going to stop, especially genetically modified organisms, not to be adopted in the continent, and then explain how they are going to really implement mechanized agriculture on the continent of Africa, because Africa is supposed to be the breadbasket of the world, not the other way around, so that when people are fighting their wars, Africa trembles, whether Africa has the power to instead help those who are suffering all around the world when it comes to food security. Raila Odinga emphasizes that he is the African lion, that the tiger of Asia is time to listen to the African lion. The bear of America is supposed to listen to the African lion now. Sirs who are running for the AU chairs, I mean all of you, it is time to implement especially agriculture for the good of the African people. The subsistence method of farming is already updated, and that is why people really suffer. If some of you politicians don't go on ground to see what these people are going through, the average African man is going through with the exorbitant prices of food in the market,